All right, so for our final presentation, the 13 federal disabilities, I chose to do autism. So that's what this presentation will be talking about. Um, so we'll get started. So the definition of autism defined by IDEA is as it reads: autism means a developmental disorder or disability significantly affecting verbal and nonverbal communication and social interaction, generally evident before age 3, that adversely affects a child's educational performance. Other characteristics often associated with autism are engagement in repetitive activities and stereotyped movements, resistance to environmental change or change in daily routines, and unusual responses to sensory experiences. So, obviously, as you can see, it talks about heavily, what kind of autism is. It affects physically, non-physical, verbal, non-verbal. There's tons of things that autism can affect. One thing talked about in the IRS model, and I believe it was week 10 or 11, it talked about that boys have a significantly higher chance and or rate of getting autism than girls. It's about 4.5 times more likely to happen in boys than it is to happen in girls. Um, so that's kind of what it is. It's also kind of categorized now as ASD, um, and so that's kind of the shortened term of it. Um, so that's kind of what the definition of autism is. So some characteristics of autism. This I also got from the IRS model as well. Um, the characteristics, I guess you could say, that kind of define autism is: the first one is persistent deficits in an individual's social communication and social interaction across contexts, difficulty initiating or responding to social interactions, displaying or interpreting facial expressions, or showing interest in peers. So, like I said, so some examples are: they like to be by themselves quite a bit. They no problem kind of being the outcasts of their classes or friends. They don't have a lot of interest in their friends as well. I mean, if their friends aren't doing something that doesn't interest them, they have no problem of completely just ignoring them. Usually nonverbal. They definitely kind of like to just kind of be on their own in their own little world, either playing with toys or playing with things that interest them. And again, they don't have a whole lot of friends when it comes to that aspect because they struggle with the social interaction. Um, Another characteristic, these are kind of the two main ones. Within these two, there's a bunch of characteristics that go along with it, but these are the two main ones that are usually consistently found in all types of autism. Restricted repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities, flapping of hands, difficulty handling changes in routine, highly focused interests. So, puts things in a particular order, obsessed with a certain thing, coloring, a certain toy, a routine, a food, picky with food, and able to communicate when in need. So, if, a kid is hungry or he wants something, it's hard for him to sometimes communicate. And so that's kind of a big one in terms of a characteristic. They really struggle with kind of the social um, aspect of things. And just some other examples, especially in kind of older. Um, Another example I found the IRS model that was kind of surprising to me in terms of the high school example they used was they're usually outspoken with adults, but not with their own peers. And so that one was kind of interesting to see that the older high school student in the example of the IRS model was okay with talking to people and older people, but when it came to their own peers, they really kind of struggled with it. And then another example could be they kind of invade your personal space. They get really close to you, whether it be a physical or just really close to your face. So these are just some characteristics, mostly found in the IRS model that I found to kind of be the most intriguing, I guess you could say. So the EBPs, the evidence-based practices, there was quite a few of them. There was 27 that I found to be pretty effective when it comes to teaching kids with autism. From the teachers, I just named a few because, like I said, 27 is a lot. I didn't think I needed to list all 27 of them, but if um, you are, I guess, that interested, you'd like to know, like I said, it's in the IRS model in my works cited page. So the first one, these four I kind of use. The first one I use discrete trial teaching. It's defined as an instructional process usually involving one teacher slash service provider and one student slash client, and designed to teach appropriate behavior or skills. Instruction usually involves missed trials. Each trial consists of the teacher's instruction slash presentation of the child's response, a careful planned consequence, and a pause or prior presenting in the next instruction. So it's kind of like a trial and error type thing, which I think, with anyone is going to be good. You're going to try certain things that you think might work or that everyone else is trying to do, but whatever sticks with that person, whatever they learn best, is kind of the best way to go with. Another one is exercise. I'm big into exercise, especially for younger kids. I think giving them recess or PE times is something that can be very valuable. When I was teaching at the middle school last year, um, and when I subbed there, I subbed for PE, and they always bring the kids in the special ed room down to PE. They usually all have PE. I think it's fifth or sixth hour, and they always bring them down to play no matter what because it's good for them to kind of run out and release some energy. And it could just be walking laps around the gym. It's good for them to kind of get out and maybe kind of take a break from the classroom. Another one was reinforcement. An event, an activity, or other circumstance occurring after a learner engages in the desired behavior that leads to the increased occurrence of the behavior of the future. So, kind of to do something right, give positive reinforcement, say good job, give them a sticker, give them something to kind of show them that, hey, you did it correctly. Let's kind of build from there. So I think that's another really good one. And then the last one is the social skills training. That's when a group or individual instruction designed to teach learners with autism spectrum disorder always to appropriately inherit with peers, adults, and other individuals. Most social skills meetings include instruction on basic concepts, role playing or practice, and feedback to help learners with ASD acquire and practice communication, play, or social skills to prompt positive interaction with peers. Again, I understand that kids with autism or really any disability in general could be really difficult to try to interact with peers, but I definitely think it's something that every teacher or aide working with a student should try. It'd be good to just try to let them interact with other kids as much as possible in order to try and help those social skills. Because, like I said in the definition, usually kids with autism really struggle with social skills. So I think if you practice those things, they could eventually get better for them. And then a couple of the resources that I found useful. Again, these were in the IRS model. The first one was the Autism Focused Intervention. Again, you're welcome to go to these or websites if you'd like to. This one kind of focuses on plannings for EVPs and kind of like gives you step-by-step, ideas and information regarding them. Starts with lesson 1, the basics, and then lesson 2, the planning, lesson 3, using, and lesson 4, monitoring. So it kind of just helps you, I guess you could say, prepare for a lesson with kids with special needs. The next one is the National Professional Development Center on Autism Spectrum Disorder. Again, you're welcome to go. It was in the IRS model for resources. This one I liked because it kind of gives you like a big chart of where the student may perform, giving what they struggle with the most. And it's kind of just it has like training exercises and summative assignment exercises. And it's just good for, I think, teachers maybe kind of going in to a year with a student with special needs. It could be really beneficial to help, that teacher, kind of be more prepared in terms of their lessons. And the last one, to LEAP and teach comprehensive treatment models, comparing outcomes for preschool with autism in high quality classrooms. This one I kind of like because it's a little different. It uses this teach and LEAP method. It just kind of goes into an example of how teachers should increase and maintain their implemented lessons, and to have students follow the criteria set forth by this model that they use. So again, it's kind of something to help prepare teachers for kids who might come in with autism or any other type of disorder. So those are kind of some of the resources that I thought were useful. And then overall, like I said, I mean, autism is definitely something that I enjoy learning about. I would have done Down syndrome, and it would have been pretty easy for me. I have a brother with that, but this autism was very informative in learning about what works and what doesn't work. And really, after learning, especially going through the IRS exercise again, I redid that entire IRS module. I believe it was in week 11, I think, or 10. I can't remember. There's a lot of similarities I see between that and Down syndrome, especially in terms of the routine and getting obsessed with one thing. Not to say that the both disabilities are the same, but it was kind of cool to see the similarities and differences amongst both of those disabilities. So that's what I got for autism. So thank you.